patriotism and injustice, those two things, you'd think they would harmonize somehow as a dialogue, but we're now starting a new NFL season, and we have a default mode that's very, very different. Two sides. One that's feels they're disrespected because of the flag, they're patriots, and injustice, people calling to attention real societal issues that need addressing. We have Jerry Jones, who's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. He stood up recently and said, my boys are going to stand, they're not going to stay in the locker room. That is to quell a demonstration that every time we get an African American demonstration in America, it's assumed as though it's disrespecting the flag. But at the same time, it's raising an issue that's there. We need to go beyond narratives that simply perpetuate a norm, a social matrix that exists. We need to realize it's great to be a patriot, but at the same time, if people have injustice causes, we need to hear those, not quell them in the noise of a default mode. And that is exactly what's happening. It's perpetuating. Every time this happens, it just continues. They've disrespected the flag, and they're calling for injustice. We live in a country of stereotypes and profiles. People are profiled into a stereotype, meaning we look at one person and we naturally assume all of the people in a similar societal situation are doing the same things. And a stereotype profile really means it's a cookie cutter. It's a suitcase of thoughts that we adapt to fit social sects and classes and people. And we need that suitcase to be right, because in humanity we need to be always right. So we reference our thoughts, our current experiences, off that suitcase, and we draw from them. So we need to go beyond that. Yes, it may not affect you, but you need to get out of that box and let it affect you. You need to let it sit. These words I've told you, let it sit and meditate a little bit and realize how it affects everybody. If one bird is injured, it impacts the entire flock. It's a short clip, but it's a powerful clip, and I want it to sit and resonate with you. Just hear it over and over again. Yes, I'm white. Yes, it doesn't affect me, but it actually does, because it's impacting millions and millions and millions of people, and indirectly it's actually affecting you. And we're looking at this situation about police, just a whole bunch of them came and completely brutalized this guy. That is what we call a thug in a badge. I'm going to be real honest with you. They're out of control. I listened to the words, the way they were screaming. I got him, I got this guy, I got this guy. It's rage gone beyond, because there's no consequences. A lot of these guys get a tap on the back and a paid vacation in the Canary Islands, when really they should be fired and not permitted to be policemen. It's not against police. I know many police who are my friends, and I buy them coffee at the coffee shop. It's against the behavior of some who have a malicious intent. Maybe they've been harmed in their childhood, and that's why they take a job of control. I'm a psychologist as well, so I'm speaking into that. All of the behavior we're doing in the present has been through some kind of dysfunction from before. Either information we've learned about people, and in this case it could be African Americans, or if we've been abused, we take a job of power, a gun and a badge. It needs to be called what it is. I can be a thug in a police uniform, and I can still have the mentality of the 50s and 60s lynching, even though it was outlawed. It's like buying an Apple computer and putting the same software. My software is dysfunctional, so I put it into a new head, which is the computer hardware, but I'm operating from dysfunction. I'm being really real. It affects me, and I hope it affects you. I see tons of these videos. These are factual videos. I see them with Attorney Giggs' office. I see them on other activists. And that's where really the blessing of electronic computers and phones are. Things that were kept in the under the carpet, because they've always been there. This is not new news. This is 1950s and 60s news and even beyond. It's become more relevant because we can see it. I've been seeing this for 6 years, and I'm trying to just really get you out of your box. You may not know about these things, but they're very real, and they need to be called what they are. There needs to be hiring reforms, mental screening reforms for policemen, consequences for what they are. If I'm a thug in a badge, then I'm a thug in a badge. If I shoot somebody unarmed, then I need to go to jail. It's not against police, by the way. It's actually going to improve police. The excellence of police is there. There are many excellent, but the bad ones actually make it bad for you if you're a good policeman listening. So the good policemen need to call out the bad, as well as the bad being called for what it is. There's a big disparity between the way police whites and police African Americans in America. They're taught to protect the whites, but they're taught to fear the blacks. It's our past history. And now we have somebody with a criminal record. It happens thousands of times. Someone whose life is impacted, who may not be able to get a job, someone who may suffer from mental problems, who may have health issues. That's why a lot of African Americans have health issues. They've had to go with this tension all the time. It can be really stopped. We need to examine the system. We have 813 judges roughly, and only about 104 are African Americans. You're 7 times more likely to get a criminal record in jail for something you haven't done, a crime you hadn't committed.